It's 10 p.m. The clinic is closed, the lights are off, but 3 new messages just hit the Instagram inbox. One person wants to know if there's an opening next Tuesday, another is asking for a price list, and a third is checking if a specific treatment is in stock. By the time someone unlocks that phone at 9 a.m. tomorrow, the math works against you. Those buyers were ready at 10 p.m. 9 hours later, they've likely scrolled past your profile and messaged a competitor who answered first. We usually treat unanswered messages as a social media annoyance. They aren't. Leaving a buying question on read is a severe failure in lead management. Let's look at this matrix of consumer intent. A direct message is almost never a casual hello. It represents one of 4 specific actions: intent to buy, intent to book an appointment, a need for qualification, or a request for support. When an inbox treats those 4 distinct actions like standard marketing comments, the system breaks. The pipeline leaks, funneling straight out of the business before your sales team even knows the interest existed. Unanswered messages actively push your revenue to the business that replies first. Relying on your staff to manually fight their way through an overloaded inbox is no longer a viable way to survive. So businesses put up their first line of defense using Instagram's native tools. They set up saved replies and toggle on basic welcome automations. This creates a minimum standard. It stops the total silence and gives your team a way to shoot off a standard response without typing it from scratch every time. But the defense stops there. These static messages cannot qualify leads. They cannot understand context, and ultimately, someone still has to manually intervene to move the conversation forward. Native replies work as a floor for basic responsiveness. They fail completely as a strategy for conversion. The next step up is Meta Business Suite. Here, businesses set up keyword rules to handle the repetitive loop of questions about shipping times, store hours, and return policies. This flowchart maps the system's rigid logic. If a user types shipping, it fires a pre-written response. But with a 5-keyword limit, when a user asks something with messy human context, like, "Can I get this shipped Tuesday?" the logic shatters. The system dead ends. Keyword automations operate strictly as a rule engine. Because they only scan for isolated words, they are entirely blind to what the buyer actually intends to do. Closing the gap requires AI-powered conversational agents. Instead of scanning for isolated words, this system dynamically detects the underlying human intent. Think of it as a digital intake desk. It reads an incoming message and asks specific follow-up questions to immediately separate a serious buyer from someone just casually browsing. This map shows the sequence in action. An inbound inquiry is categorized by intent, pushed through a qualification check, and routed directly to the correct team member's schedule. Without a human touching a keyboard, the system locks in a confirmed meeting or finalizes a sale. The holding area of your direct messages is gone. It becomes an active, autonomous front-end revenue engine. Now look at that 10 p.m. rush again. The team isn't waking up to a backlog of dead leads. The AI systematically processed the overnight influx while everyone slept. But this hub-and-spoke model shows what makes it work. Instagram isn't isolated. It feeds directly into the external CRM database, syncs with scheduling software, and connects to unified support workflows. That architecture handles platform constraints. Instagram's API caps automate replies at roughly 750 messages per hour. When heavy traffic hits, the central hub queues and prioritizes the messages. It organizes the chaotic influx into a structured flow, avoiding rate limits. If you add messages faster without connecting the underlying infrastructure, the system will eventually collapse under its own weight. The technology only works if the execution matches your brand. The tone needs to be plain, functional, and sound exactly like your business. And as you can see in this graphic, regardless of how intricate the technical workflow gets, there is one non-negotiable rule. You must provide a frictionless escape hatch, like a reply human prompt, for any user who wants to speak to a real person. Slightly slower, confident. Setting up an auto-reply just to answer quickly is a parlor trick. True power lies in making superior, instantaneous decisions that advance the deal the very moment a buyer asks a question.